This is the basic paving mini workflow. And you can see here in the viewport, we're generating a simple paving pattern inside of a boundary that we've created. Anytime we adjust this boundary, we're going to get that pattern regenerated in with a random set of colors that will trim neatly to the edge of whatever shape that we create or modify, whether that is rectilinear or curvilinear. If we zoom in very closely, you can see that the pavers have a specific dimension, but there's also a dimensionality to the seams or spacing between these pavers that is maintained. A lot of the factors that we are seeing here can be adjusted and changed. So if we go over here to our grasshopper panel, we can see that we have a series of different controls. The first ones being the adjustment to the pattern type. The different pattern types are standard. We have a variety of different basic pattern types that you'll be familiar with, such as the herringbone, or even other pattern types that you might be familiar with, such as a triangular, a hex pattern type, or even the running bond pattern type and the basic grid pattern type. So we'll go back to the running bond pattern type and look at different ways that we can change these pavers to meet certain requirements that we have, such as adjusting the paver length or width. So by adjusting this value, we can see that we have the ability to adjust how long that paver is while maintaining the width. You can also see that the seam spacing between the pavers is maintained. So we're always making sure that the dimensionality of the design and the style that we're trying to achieve is maintained so that we have a fairly accurate representation of what our paving design will look like in the end. We can change the paver type from curves to surfaces, to even being able to change them to three-dimensional pavers that have a thickness to them, where we can extrude these surfaces down. This requires a little bit more processing power, so we definitely recommend that you pay attention to how many pavers and the size of the site that you're working with before you decide to do any type of extrusion, as it can take a lot of processing time. We have the ability to adjust that thickness as well here in the dimensions. I'll switch it back to just a surface appearance or even just a curve appearance here. You can see that we have random colors being generated in our paving design, but we can even adjust those different colors to make different patterns appear that we prefer, maybe something a little bit less dark overall with whiter to lighter browns. And then lastly, we have the ability to bake out our pavers and generate the physical pavers in our design organized in their respective colored layers. So what's happening underneath the hood here in the grasshopper? You can see that the script here itself is quite simple and straightforward. We have a geometry pipeline, which is how we're bringing in our paving area, which is drawn on this particular layer here. This is bringing in either a surface or a curve that is then generating an area, a land kit area, which can then be fed into a variety of different components, most notably in this case, the add pattern to area component, where we have the ability to select between a variety of standard patterns, one of which I never even showed, the radial pattern. And we also have the ability to adjust the lengths, widths, steps, even the joint spacing or the seams. So you can see as I adjust this value up, we're getting a wider spacing between each of our pavers here, again, while maintaining the dimensionality of the pavers. We even have the ability to rotate this pattern within the paving area to give a different orientation to that paving pattern. As we move along, we can see that the pattern is coming out as a paving area still, or a land kit area, into the component that trims these pavers to the boundary of this area. If we were to bypass that, we would see the pavers being generated beyond that edge before they are trimmed. Then we arrive at the draw area pattern, where we are taking that information that we're instilling inside of that area and we're realizing it as a series of physical geometry with colors. The colors are being plugged in as a series of color swatches. The type of paver output, whether curve, surface, or extrusion, is controlled through this input, and even the paver thickness is being controlled in this location as well, and not at the generation of the original pattern. The outputs allow us to preview whatever output type of geometry we are generating, as well as their colors for each of those pavers in their respective orders and the indices. And then we have the option to bake these values using our Bake Preview button and component that allows us to organize the pavers in their respective layers.